Again, welcome again to today's session. And before we get started, can anyone just briefly run through a recap of what we treated in our last class? Yeah, I said just give us a quick run through about what we did in our last class.
Wow, our last class was really packed.
All right.
I might not be able to give a quick run through of everything we did because I've not been able to go back to the video. But from what I would say, I'll start with what we intend to learn in this program for the say, 8 times we are going to meet. Yes, and the 5 keys things we need to use AI for. Those were the part that actually stood out for me.
All right.
The list of programs we are going to do, like the steps,
Okay.
and how each and every step is going to be taught, and also the things we can use AI for regarding this um do I understood that maybe when I go back to the video with respect to today's teaching, I'll have like a full. Yes.
All right.
Okay,
Good evening. Please go ahead.
so we talked about the history of AI, then also discussed about the applications of AI in industry,
Okay.
in software development,
Okay.
and the user case, key user case of different AI uh, tools. And we also discussed what generative AI can do and cannot do well. Yeah.
All right. Very good. Once again, you guys are doing amazing well. Thank you for sharing that. So yeah, as we said before, we are going to be going through different phase. We've done the step one already, right? So the next one that we're going to be diving into majorly right now, it's going to be the web development essentials. And trust me, this is just going to be very simple class, right? We'll just talk about the basics of web development itself, the essentials of web development, the core fundamentals, HTML, what it is, CSS, what it is, and JavaScript, what it is also, right? Then after we're done with that, we'll just go ahead to talk about, we'll look at some basic ways of how a random user can actually create HTML websites in just few minutes. We'll look at how we can do that with Claude AI itself. And it's going to be something very simple and basic because I'm going to take you step by step and show you the flow of how all of this works, right? And after that, we are going to look at CSS in briefly. We're going to talk about JavaScript, then we're going to dive into the framework of those guys, right? So we're going to talk about some cool frameworks around web development. And trust me, when you are using AI to actually prototype your website and all of that, and especially when you're starting from the ground up, you need to actually prompt AI to guide you on what to do, right? So you need to prompt AI to tell you, okay, guy, I want to work on this stuff. What are the stacks that I'm going to use? I want to work on this project. What database can I use? What framework can I use? And things of that nature, right? But we'll look at some basic and fundamentals, front end framework and libraries. We'll look at some of the backend services also that are provided right there. We'll look at everything in a picture, right? Then after we're done with that, we're not going to dive into AI for rapid prototyping, right? Because trust me, I know some of you are like good developers. So we'll look at how we can actually build websites, how people nowadays that do not even know how to code can build website. And we're going to look at all of these tools, right? We're going to look at some of these basic AI tools for rapid prototyping. I'm sure you must have heard of them before, but we're going to learn about a few today also. Then we're going to dive into a few of them. We'll look at how they work, we'll look at how they differ, we'll look at the capabilities, and things of that nature also, right? Very good. Trust me, this is just the beginning process. So you'll be learning something very basic. Then after we move forward, especially when we dive into the Git and GitHub collaboration workflow, then we're not going to start looking at how we can now collaborate with GitHub, how we can use Git to version control our system. Then we're going to dive into writing code base itself, right? Using AI to write code base, where we'll dive into building real UIs and using prompting, how to learn prompting, prompt engineering, and all of those things, right? But for now, we're still going to look at how beginners are going to be doing things here and there and see how people can actually build website without even writing a line of code. All right. So with that being said, let's dive into what we have for today. So give me a few seconds. Let me just go ahead and open this down. All right. So today we're going to be talking about web development essentials. By the way, were you guys able to watch the video that I recommended to you guys? Did anyone watch that video where it was like how the world will look like in 2050? By the way, if you have not watched that video, um, just go ahead to watch it. Or let me just do a quick recap of what we treated in our last class, right? So in our last class, we actually talked about some the basics of generative AI. Let me just scan through it briefly. So we talked about the modern mindset of developers right now. Things have actually shifted, right? We talked about the old way AI started from the 1950s, right? We talked about AI, we defined that. We talked about machine learning, we talked about deep learning. Briefly, we just like tried to understand how the world was doing it back then before they started, before the shift happened in the 2020s, which is like generative AI. And we understood what generative AI was. By the way, if you've not watched the video, please go ahead to watch it. Let me just go ahead to open the link right there. So you guys are going to be um, so you guys are going to follow up also, right? And again, I would like you guys to drop a comment in that video every class, so that I'm going to be seeing that, oh, you guys are following up with something, right? So again, if you have not dropped a like or a comment, just try to, by the way, in the beginning you might not really hear the sound very well, but I think when you just progress a little bit, you're going to hear the sound more, right? So just go ahead to like the video and drop a comment on what you learned in the last class. That would be well appreciated, and give the video a thumbs up. All right. So with that being said, let's just go ahead to continue. We talked about generative AI. We said it's a subset of artificial intelligence, which we saw right here. And we talked about that it focuses on creating new data content or information using algorithm models. And we mentioned different type of algorithms. And trust me, we're still going to talk more about algorithms in our upcoming classes. So just make sure that you pay attention. All right. So we talked about the applications in industry where generative AI is currently used, and we mentioned different example, right? I remember someone said they used Gemini to create videos and images and the likes, right? And we talked about the industry that can be applied in. We talked about arts, healthcare, we talked about marketing, product development, and software development, right? So those are the basic things that we covered. And we also talked about what we can really use AI for, because we need to actually understand these basics, right? We talked about brainstorming and architecture, which we're going to be doing very well in our upcoming classes. So make sure to also pay attention. We talked about the step-by-step development. We talked about prototyping, testing, and code optimization. And yeah, I recommended this video for you guys. For those who have not watched it, just go ahead to watch it. It's a very, very good video that would help you, and it's going to also open your insights to the world of AI itself. All right. Yeah, we talked about the use cases. We talked about some of this particular AI tools. Talked about the impact of generative AI and how it's transforming and reshaping landscape and industries. And we also talked about real world application companies, right? We talked about Netflix. We talked about Spotify. How do you recommend music based off of what you've listened to before, or based off of what you've watched before, right? And this is very, very essential, because you would notice that AI is now actually here to stay. All right. We talked about what it can do and what it can do, especially talking about critical thinking. Also, fully understanding your project without context, context is very, very important. And this is where we're going to also talk about MDX file, how to create your Claude.md file when you start working with real world projects. All right. And that will be like when we get to step 3, step 4, you start seeing all of that in action. When we start working on VS Code, on Cursor, building real world projects. All right. And we talked about the shifts. My quote, obviously, technology isn't about coding, it's about innovation and making lives better. So whatever you are doing, make sure to always put that in mind. All right. We also talked about before AI, how everything was actually here and there. But now with AI, you have everything organized. You can even work on different projects using agents to run tasks for you. And we'll talk more about agents for those that don't know what agents are. All right. We talked about the shifts, right? Which are the toolkits that basically use right now for building projects in complaints. You see most developers, they talk about VS Code, Cloud Code, Copilots. Inside the VS Code, I'm sure you must have heard of them before. And Cloud Code is also very powerful, right? We'll also talk about Cloud Code and how you can use it to quickly build something, all right? We also explore different AI tools, and some of these tools that we mentioned that you can use for UI and UX designs, you can use for automations and things of that nature, all right? And we also talked about the step-by-step plan that we're going to be taking when we want to build our real world project, right? We're going to start from planning, then we're going to generate the code base with AI. Then we'll review using that same AI. Then also after review, we're going to refine and we're going to ship. And this is like most of the process that is being followed in real world couplings, right? So you would also get used to it once we go along with the class. All right. We also talked about this last quote before we finished our class. And it's very, very important to have this in mind in your mind that with 10,000 hours of dedicated practice, anyone can master a skill. So don't say it's too hard. Don't say you don't have time. Once you can just put in that dedicated hours of practice, trust me, you are going to be limitless. All right. With that being said, that is what we basically studied in our last class in brief. And now we are going to dive into the web development essentials. And I hope we are all excited for this. All right. So let me just go ahead to reduce this guy. All right, sweet, sweet. So now talking about web development essentials, can anyone briefly in the chat just tell me a little bit about what they know about web development? Anyone briefly? Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah. So I just joined to record the class.
Okay, you just joined to record the class.
Yes. I'm Esther.
Okay, Esther. All right, nice, nice to have you. All right, so let's just move on to Mary. Mary, are you there? That's interesting. You know what? Just go ahead to tell me like what do you understand about web development in general? And if you're also a front-end developer, you should know about the tools and framework you use. So you can just mention a few of that also. All right, Blessing, please go ahead before favor.
You asked a question, web development, and also what tools I use in general as a web developer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So from my understanding, web development is that process of creating, um, creating, interpreting designs and maintaining the website. Like creating the design that has been designed by UI UX, UI UX, and then interpreting that design um, into a web application that can be interacted with by user and maintaining it moving forward. So it's the stack I use as a front-end developer. I use HTML, CSS, JavaScript as the fundamentals. I use React.
the library. I use Next. Those are the two. And for design and for styling, I use styled components, sometimes material UI.
All right.
I use vanilla CSS and um, sometimes Tailwind, but I don't exactly like it because of how it clusters. Um,
Really?
that's the major thing that I use. I prefer using normal the vanilla CSS.
Wow.
If need be,
Okay.
if need be, I use design libraries as well, just to make work faster. So those
All
are the
right.
things I use.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that blessing. I remember like a few years ago, I was very adamant that I wasn't going to use Tailwind because I just wanted to stick with vanilla CSS. But trust me, with the way things have changed in this era, right, you need to actually start using Tailwind, and it will really, really help you a lot because I just feel changing from one, like when you're coding and you're changing from one tab to another, going from HTML or your React component and going to kind of write your class name and all of that. Sometimes this might become handy, but yeah, I'm sure within time you'd also try to familiarize yourself within the Tailwind space itself. All right. But thank you for sharing. A very good one on that end. Lastly, Favor, are you there?
Yes.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay, web development is the process of designing responsive websites. And the stack I use is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I'm still learning, so I haven't gone to React yet.
Okay, all right, sweet, sweet. Thank you for sharing, Favor.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are really correct. And uh also we're going to just try to understand those fundamentals. Trust me, we're not going to really um waste time on it, just to understand what's going on right there, how the web works itself, and how things are how the major components came about. All right. So first, you all know that web development is basically I mean, it's basically trendy right now. You'll have used one or two websites before. I'm sure if you go to just search for any website, let's say we search for Netflix, you would see that we have this is actually a website on its own, right? So, whenever you go to any website, or I'm sure you must have gone or visited any website before, right? And we're going to use Netflix as example in our class. We'll look at the HTML right here. We'll look at what is CSS right here, and we'll look at the JavaScript itself in general, right? So how the web works, right? The web actually is made of three key things, right? Which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All right. I'm sure you guys will have heard this over and over again, but it's also very important to also note that these are the three key things that the web development is actually make made up of, right? The website itself, right? So first one, let's talk about HTML, right? If you've not heard of HTML before, it basically means hypertext markup language, and this is just the structure of the website itself, the bones of the website itself, right? And for example, if we want to look at the HTML right here in this website, all you need to do is to right click and click on inspect, right? So once you click on inspect, you would see some of these elements that you have right here. So all of these elements that you have right here is called HTML, right? And it's called hypertext markup language. It's the structure, the bone of the website. And you see that when I over on all of some of these components, you see that we have different sections we highlighted. For example, if I wanted to change these unlimited movies, I can just come here, click on this. You can see that this is an HTML tag right here, H1. You can just change it to, let's say, limited movies, for example, and you can see that it reflects right here, right? So just take a look at HTML as the bone, the structure of the website. Is the one that actually define how the website is going to look like, all right? And basically every website you've seen on either Instagram or Facebook, these are the three major things they are made up of, right? So key thing right here to note of is that HTML is basically the bone of the website, and you can actually build a simple HTML page in few seconds, right? So in minutes rather, using Claude, right? So for example, if I wanted to just create let's say I want to create. By the way, if you have not used Claude before, you can just go to Claude.ai. You're going to be able to use Claude Code, right? Claude itself, not Claude Code, all right? So now we can just like say, okay, let's say I want to create a brief landing page about myself, using just HTML only and maybe some CSS. I can just say, okay, can you a simple landing page for me using HTML and CSS. I know you guys might not, some of you guys might not have heard of CSS, but I'm going to talk about CSS in brief, right? So I'll just tell you about myself and I'll tell you that, but before you do, right? I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Eniola Imola Dave Ward. I'll also put Dave Ward in brackets and I'll say a full stack AI engineer. These are just brief details. And do on X, I will say underscore Dave Ward underscore on X, and on Instagram underscore Dave Ward. And I can say, for example, GitHub is Eniola Demola, right? So this is just a simple landing page. And let me just give you some pictures, right? I'm going to add some photos, just one photo or two. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to pick this one. No, let me just pick. I think I'll just go with this one, right? And let's say before you proceed, ask me if you need anything. All right. But before I send this prompt, let's quickly talk about CSS itself, right? But CSS is actually the styling, right? And we're not talking about CSS, we're talking about how the website looks itself, right? How beautiful the website is, how fine it is. So, for example, in Netflix, for example, all these background images that you're seeing right here, the way this text is being displayed on it, the way this Netflix is here, and it's basically justified space between with this English language selection that we have right here. So those are CSS, how the website look, how this particular section is actually structured, right? So that's basically what CSS is. And you can just take a look at CSS, like HTML as the bone and CSS as the beauty, right? Also, we have JavaScript. Before we go into JavaScript, we can just go ahead to send our prompts and let's see what Claude Code is going to come up with, right? While that is going on, let's go ahead to talk about JavaScript itself, right? So JavaScript basically is the behavior of the website. And how do we know what JavaScript can do? So for example, right, we have this, okay, we have some question right here from Claude. So simple portfolio to just showcase my work. Okay, all of the above. Let's go with this. Dark and techie. Yes. Let's go with this. Hero, about, and skill stack and contacts. And we can just prompt it. All right. So JavaScript is now like the functionality of the website. For example, if I click on this sign in, what happens? It takes me to what? Sign in, right? So let's take a look at JavaScript as like the functionality of the website, right? And that's where all of this comes in. When you say on click or on close, for example, if I open this on mobile, with just my mobile simulator, and I want to, there is not actually a navbar, right? So I'd love to show you guys something. Okay, so for example, let's look at this. Also, you have this FAQ, right? This FAQ now, for example, if I click on plus, you can see what happens. So on click of this comes down, on cancel, this close back. And just that's what basically JavaScript is all about, right? JavaScript is just about the logic and the functionality of how the website works. So before we continue, let's just go ahead to look at what Close Code is doing for us already. So you can see that it's saying reading front-end design skills, and it's actually creating an HTML with some designs and all of that for us, right? But we'll come back to look into this. But I want to show you how very, very fast it is. Like, wait, that you can just use Claude. If you're a beginner, you can just use Claude to actually create some of those designs for a simple landing page for you. And we're going to host it right now, and you see that it's live, right? It's very, very simple using AI nowadays to build something very, very if a basically fast project. You can actually use AI to do that in few seconds, right? So, like I said earlier on, JavaScript is the behavior of how the website works, and which is the brain of the website itself. And like I explained, using Netflix, on click or something, on maybe when they click on get started, it tells them, okay, I like this input field, and put your password and username right there. So that's basically the the basics of website itself, those 3D keywords. And the layer of the website itself is just basically you have your HTML structure, which is actually placed on top of your CSS. Then you have your JavaScript, right? So you can see HTML right here. It provides the structure and the content of your websites. Like welcome. Remember, I showed you guys using the expect elements on tweaking the element pages itself. All right. So let's look at what Claude came up with. You can see in just few minutes, we already have our landing page. And we have right here available for project, Eniola Ademola, also known as Dave World, full stack AI engineer, this and that. Get in touch, view stack, get in touch. It opens a spreadsheet. Okay, very nice. You know what? I'm going to see if we can quickly host this to see if we can just play around with this. Okay, let's see. Uh, let's open this external link. Where does it take us to? Okay, just new page. All right. So skills. Let's open this if this works. Okay, very good. So contact, same thing. My image is not showing right here. So what we can do is quickly we can just remove those links of those about, skill, and contact, and tell it to route to the section itself. Stack is going to some external stuff. Get in touch. You know what? Let's just take a screenshot. So you can just quickly refine your prompts like this, and you can see that this is a file that you can download because it's in what it's written in HTML. So let's see something again. What else again is missing? AI full stack. Okay, nice design, nice overlay. I like the techie overlay of these sections. We have let's work together. Send the message. Okay, X. Let me see if it takes me to my X account. So it takes to X/Daveword_Daveword. Okay, very good. That works fine. My Instagram. Let's see if it takes us there to takes us to the Instagram page, but I think I need to sign in before I can view the account. And my GitHub, let's open the link and let's see if that takes us to GitHub also. Mm, oh, Ade Mola. So there's supposed to be E right here. I'm going to update that prompt. All right, so very good. So we'll just say for the links on the hero section, make them route to the section itself, not open a spreadsheet. Also, my GitHub handle is Eniola Ademola, and let's just also attach that image again. It seems there was an issue attaching that image that we did before. And also, I would say I noticed my image isn't popping up. Can you help fix this also? Right. So this is just like a random way a normal developer right there with a normal user would go ahead to use Cloud Code, especially for beginners. I'm literally doing it like a beginner right now, right? Obviously, you can't do this when you're doing a large scale project, but let's just see what happens right there. And once we are done, we'll download this and we'll quickly host it on Vercel, and you see that the link is live. That's how very simple it is right now to create a landing page using Claude itself, right? So let's just wait for it to finish working. Okay, now very good. The image is working now. The issue with the image camera. parts where she mentioned blah, blah, blah. Provided it to 64 embedding images, which really makes sense. So now let's go to skills. So get in touch. You still take him to open external link. You know what? That's fine. What we can do is let's just go ahead to download this code and host it on Vercel, and we'll be good to go, right? So let's just go ahead to download it. Download. It's just a 3.2 MB file, right? So let's just go ahead to open a new GitHub repo. For those of you that don't know what GitHub is, don't worry, I'm going to tell you guys about GitHub very soon. All right, so I can just create a new repository for on GitHub, and let me just go ahead to bring that right here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'll just create a new repository. I'll just say simple portfolio, right? And we'll leave it as blank. I'm just going to make this private for me only. README, I can put README on, and I'll create repository. My owner is going to be me. We're going to go ahead to create a repository, right? And right here, I can just like add my code base. Obviously, you'd have to like do git version control, but I'm telling you a very simple way you can actually do this on time, right? So I'm going to click add file, upload files, and I'm just going to click choose for my files. I'll go ahead to download, and I'll pick dev.html, and I'll open that, right? So it's going to upload the file, and my changes, I'll just put add file, add initial HTML code, right? And I'll click commit changes. All right. So if you don't have a GitHub account, you can just go to github.com. I'm going to send it to the chat right now. Just go to github.com and open an account, and you'll be good to go. And what you can do now is you can go to Vercel, right? So Vercel is like a place where you can actually host your project for free, right? So if I go to Vercel, I already have an account already on Vercel. If you don't know what Vercel is, just go ahead to search for Vercel, and you will see what it's about, right? You can build and deploy projects in few minutes, right? And we're going to actually do that together, right? So what you can do is just click on the link, and just if you want to create a new project, which I already have that open right here. So if you want to create a new project, just click on new projects, and let's see, I'm going to click on import, which is the simple portfolio that we just created. And the path, let's see what path we are using right here. It's called dev.html. So let's see, portfolio, root directory, this, let's go ahead to deploy. Very simple and straightforward, something that we just do with plot code right now, right? So let's see, deployment is in progress, and let's just wait for it to deploy, finish. And I'm sure it actually updated my GitHub account, right? Let me see. Okay, very good. It did update it. Sweet. So we're having an error not found. Let's see. Continue to dashboard. So I think the issue that might be here right now would be because it's not seeing the index.html file. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead to click on this. Let me see, can we rename from here? Edit file. I'll change this index.html, and I'll commit my changes. Yes, commit changes. All right. So once I come to this place again and I go to deployment, let me just current 4 seconds ago. Let me refresh. Okay, overview back again. Let's see this. Let's see if it's working now. Vercel.add. What's going on? Let me see. Current production main. Go back to the overview. Okay, let's see if this has committed finish. All right. Okay, very good. Simple portfolio HTML. Okay, good. So it's saying no deployments available. Let's see if we can quickly trigger the deployment again. Deploy. And so let's try to redeploy it again. So it's building the latest. Let's just wait for a few seconds. Hopefully this should work now. Shouldn't take up to 2 minutes before our deployment is actually ready. For those that are confused, it's just a pretty much straightforward way to actually build a simple landing page in just a few minutes, right? And let's see if this works. I can't even see the HTML code being right here. Let's see. What is going on with our code base? All right. Maybe let's try something else to use to deploy it instead of Vercel, right? Let's ask code base how quickly deploy this. So let's see. Let's tell Claude to give us some recommendation. Netlify, that's what I did. GitHub, Vercel. Vercel, actually, I don't know what's going on. Now it's telling us to upgrade to keep chatting. Don't worry about that. Let's see. It ties directly to another one like GitHub profile. Netlify. I don't know what's wrong with Netlify, but let's see. Let's see again. I have index.html, right? You know what? I would actually even like to run this locally first. Let me try to open this in my local browser to see if that works. I'm going to go to download and I'm going to click open with Google Chrome. Okay, this is my local and I can open this locally, right? So that means this should work. There's something wrong here with Netlify that we are not seeing. Let's see, you know what? Let's try to do this again from the start. Maybe because that time we didn't have the div word, the index.html right there selected. But let's go back to all projects. I'm going to click on new projects. And right here, I'm going to click on simple portfolio again. I'm going to import, right? Others will be index and okay, let's just leave it as default and let's name this Niola portfolio. Others root directory. Yes, we are good to go. Okay, let's try to deploy this again now. Let's see. Why did you rename it back to simple portfolio? Okay, we can change that actually. Let's just wait. Okay, now it's catching the latest changes that I made from default to index.html. Very good. Just give it a few seconds to download, then we are going to be good to go. Finger crossed.
Okay, it's back. It's back. It's
Yes,
back.
sorry guys, my network went off. So can you guys see my screen? All right, so it seems Fazil is actually not deploying our portfolio for us. You know what? Let's try Netlify. Netlify, since Vassell is actually I don't know what's going on. I think it's not catching the index of HTML for some reasons. Let me continue the dashboard. Let me click on deployment again. If this is not showing, then we'll just try Netlify, right? So same thing, just log into your account and connect your GitHub. I'm going to log in with GitHub. Yes, I'm going to log in with GitHub. And once you log in with GitHub, it's going to connect all your files for you, right? So let's just go ahead to add new projects. I've actually worked on multiple projects. I actually prefer Facil sometimes, but let's try out if Netlify is going to help us to solve our problem now. Let's see, connect to a project. I'm just going to search for simple. I think that's the name of our repo. Simple portfolio. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead to do this. Main project name. Let's just name it Eniola dash dev. Main branch, right? I think it's the main branch we're working on. Yes, working with main branch. By the way, if you don't know, I knew this is just the main branch right here. It's always stated on GitHub, right? Then I'm going to pick not the first environment variable and stuff like that. Let's just go ahead to deploy it. Let's see if Netlify helps us in these aspects. I might see what the issue is. Okay, so let me see. All files are uploaded. It's not catching the index.html file. Let me see what's going on. Because I know we actually ran it on our locals. Where is it? It's actually showing here in our locals, but I think it's not catching it on Netlify. You know what? Let me go ahead to download this to see if this actually have something in it, because it seems it's showing empty file. So that might also be the issue. You can see there's actually nothing in our index of HTML that we uploaded. So that means that is the file that we uploaded that has issues. You know what? Let's just go ahead to delete this and go ahead to update a new one again, right? So I'm going to click on this file. Or you know what? I'm going to click on add file. I'm going to click on create new file. I want to upload. I don't want to take you guys through the stress of upload file. I don't want to take you guys through the stress of using Git from start again. Let me check this. So let me check this. Okay. You know what? Let's update this one again. Open. And I'm going to go ahead to say just add dev.word HTML file. So that means the reason why it's actually not deploying is because we did not have anything back there in our index.html. And right here, I'm going to try to see if I can just delete this file, commit changes, and I'll say delete index.html. And right here, let me see if we have something in this dev.html. Let me see view raw. So we confirm that we have something right here. All right, very good. We have the index file right there. All right, let me just refresh. And right here, we can say edit again. No, cancel changes. We don't want to. Oh, I see the issue. The issue might be because of when we edited. It cleared the HTML file content that we have right there. But you know what? Let me go ahead to see to deploy again. Get configuration. Or you know what? Instead of us doing that, I think we can actually do something better so that we don't waste much of our time. I think renaming the file on GitHub is actually clearing the content of itself, right? So let's go ahead to add new file, upload the file, and we're going to choose from files. And right here, I'm just going to go ahead to move this one to trash. And this one, I'm just going to rename it to index.html. And I'm going to open it again. And I'm going to commit my changes. What's going on? Let's continue, refresh. Add file, upload files. Choose your file. Going to name index.html. I would name it, we'll leave it as add file via upload. We'll commit our changes. And we are good to go, right? We can delete this dev.html since we don't need it again anymore. Let's look at the deploys and let's go ahead to trigger the redeployment. Let's just wait for it. Building, completed, right? So, okay, very good. Now here we have it. Enyola-dev.netlify.app. So the reason was because immediately we actually renamed our index.html. It cleared all the files that we have right there. So we're deploying a blank index.html file. So if we go to this one also and we try to, okay, I think this is also deployed. So if you go to Vercel, oh, very good, it's working right now. So the major issue was just the renaming of the file. All right, so you can actually just visit it right now. If you go there, so that in I just send the link right now to the chat, so you can go there and you'll be able to see the live deployment, right? And you see that we have all of the content. Even this is actually very basic, but it's something that a non-developer can actually does. You can just go ahead to do quickly, right? And trust me, it's actually very simple using GitHub. It's just um drag and drop and deploy to Vercel when you are done. You see, I don't have to start wasting my time to be doing index, display flex, this and that. It's basically wasting of time, right? And this is just how a bare user is going to go ahead to use Claude to actually create a website. Very simple and straightforward. All the links actually also works well. My GitHub also works well. It linked very well. All right, very good. So let's continue with our class, right? That was very interesting. As a developer, you would see that there are bugs that you just face without even knowing about them. But yeah, with time, if you know what you are doing, I'm sure you'll be good to go. So now let's talk about the modern web development ecosystem, right? The one I just showed you right now is a very basic one of how you can quickly right now. So for example, if you want to um, quickly create a website, a landing page website that you want to use for maybe showcasing a project or just maybe creating a simple portfolio about your friend or something. You can actually do that with Claude Code, with just Claude, sorry, not Claude Code. Again, I like repeating Claude Code, but yeah, you can see with just this first simple step. And trust me, you can still refine, right? You can refine, try to tell it, oh, do this, do that, and you'll be good to go. But also notice that you might be prompted to actually upgrade your account because you might have reached your free limit message and all of that. But trust me, with the free tier limit, because I've been using this free limit since, with the free tier limit, you are going to be able to at least do something, build something meaningful. All right. So now let's dive into the modern web development ecosystem. And this is what we are literally going to focus on the course. We are not going to be building simple HTML web pages like that, right? We're going to get more advanced because we need to understand the real ecosystem of what modern developers are using right now. And they're also integrating with AI. All right. So now let's start with the front end, right? Now, make sure you follow me. We're going to start with highlighting this front end itself. And this front end is like, I think is like the basic thing that you should actually try to focus on if you are trying to build more like visibility, like you want clients to be able to see your website and be wow that okay, oh, I really like this interface, I like this design, and this is where your design perspective now comes in, right? And this is where you can actually take whatever design that you are giving. It can be from Figma, from Dribble. As a developer right now, if you want to see a very cool design, just go to Dribble, right? Once you go to Dribble, you will see that this is where top designers actually come in to put designs that are actually nice, right? You would see many that you can actually take from, and all you need to do is to download the file. This is Framer Motion website actually. This is not a real website, right? This was designed in Framer. And look at how clean and nice these designs are, right? You can see many examples that you can use for here for free. Like you can search for hero section. By the way, I'm going to show you guys a very good platform where you can see high quality component and you can integrate it with your project. Don't forget, I'm still going to show you all of that, right? But you can come here, see designs. If you like the hero section, for example, if you like this one, you can just come here, screenshot it or download it and go ahead to use it and pass it to your AI, which we're going to do once we start building our own projects. All right. So now, yeah, so now this is where you now actually try to use some advanced framework and libraries of JavaScript. And for example, we have React, right? Now, React is a advanced, let me say, library for JavaScript, where it now saves you the stress of writing um, get elements by ID, get elements by class name, and all of those things of that nature, right? Trust me, those things are very nice to know, especially the basics. They will really help you. But if you want to build high quality products, right, you would need to use this advanced framework and libraries. And number one is also React. And we also have Next.js. Next.js is actually a framework for React, right? So Next.js now gives you that flexibility to be able to work on the client side and server side. And this is where you can now optimize image loading. Next.js have some pretty much advanced feature compared to React, right? If you understand the basics of JavaScript very well and you understand React very well, Next.js is going to be an easy peasy for you. And we also have other frameworks that are not really popular like that. I would say Angular and Vue. To be honest, most of the websites I've seen are majorly built on React and Next.js, especially those huge complaints, right? If you want to also do the stats of, let's just do the stats together, right? This class is going to be like basically hands-on. Right? We're going to be searching for everything together. So um let's do stats on React versus Vue versus Angular, right? Let's see what we have right there. Okay, we have this stats from April 2026. This is not really a nice UI for me to actually compare. But you see, okay, let's look for something else to be honest. Okay, we have one from Log Rocket blog. Let's see what we have right here, where they are comparing it, right? This, and this. I would like to see a grammatic representation actually. Mm, let's see, we don't really have that here. Okay, let's see medium. Which should you choose? Which should you choose? Okay, we have this speed time. React win. Oh, React is slow. So okay, this is actually comparing React View and Swift. Swift. I don't know. I've not seen this one before actually. But I'm talking about Angular, React, and this. Let me see. Let's see if we can see another one that's going to help us. Let's look at NPM trends. Yes, very good, very good, very good. Okay, so we have this in the past year. I think we can see like last 2 years. Let's see. Okay, very good. So you can see blue is for Angular, orange is for React, and green is for Vue. And you can see total number of developers that are using it, right? So Vue, we have May 5th, 2024. For React, we have 22 million. Why for Vue, we have 4 million. And you can see that in progress, currently itself, March 2029, which is, let's look at April, which is this month, 2026 rather. Angular we have 500,000, Vue we have 11 million, and React we have 100, a whooping 123 million, right? So I'd advise you to actually stick with React. And yeah, also jobs out there mostly need React developers, not really Angular and Vue, but it'd be nice to also know the basics around all of them, right? So yes, so those are like the threads, but majorly focus on React. I would personally advise to always pick React over others and Next.js. We also have TypeScript, which actually helps you with type safety, right? That is also something we're going to talk about later, right? And we also have the backend, right? You know, we have front end and back end when it comes to web development, right? Front end is basically what you are seeing, how you can interact with the website. Like for example, in this our Netlify, all this you are seeing right here is the front end itself. And when we talk about backend, that's when we start to talk about the server side and the API layer, right? And backend is just basically all about database, saving user informations and the likes, right? And it handles all of like the business logic, it handles the data processing and also the API request. So for example, now, what happens if a user clicks on, sorry, so what happens, for example, if the user clicks on email address, right? They put it there and they get started. If we don't have a backend, right, trust me, that email address is just going to disappear, right? So the backend is going to be that guy that's going to be responsible for actually keeping user data. And we have different frameworks. Trust me, it's very, very good to know this framework so and know what they are best at, know their capabilities, so that whenever you want to build a project from start, you know what to work with as you are prompting your AI. And we'll see all of that once we start building our live project also and building UI components, right? Talking about UI component again, before I forget, I have some UI. But by the way, if you have not heard of 21st Dev, just go ahead to search for 21st Dev. If you have not heard of 21st Dev, we are going usually going to use this back and forth. You're going to see a very nice component where you can just prompt with AI, and I'll tell you how to use all of this, right? You see, we have announcements. For example, if you're creating a section about announcements, you can see the UIs to use. If you're creating hero section, right, and you want to use, for example, this type of hero section, look at this landing one. You want to use this, right? And all you might need to do, okay, the image is not loading right here. Let's pick this one, for example, product ready digital marketing blog, which is really nice. That's dark mode and light mode. If you want to use this component, I will teach you how to use everything when it comes to UI components. So don't worry. I'm going to teach you more about this also when we start building our project, and you're going to see how to use it hand in hand. All right. So yeah, let's move on to backend back, right? So backend, you can see we have Node.js, we have Express.js, we have Nest.js, we have Django, we have Fast API, and we have Laravel, which is basically a framework for like PHP, right? So these are some of these backend framework that you guys might have used. I know most of you guys right here are front-end developers. But you might not really like backend. But to be honest, if you don't like backend, you can actually use something that is called backend services, right? And this is where you actually plug and play services into your projects to actually accelerate your development, and you'll be able to scale with ease, right? One of my favorites is going to be Superbase. Superbase is a very awesome platform. If you've not heard of it before, just go ahead to Superbase. By the way, as I'm typing up this website, you can go ahead to style it in your Chrome tab also, right? So Superbase is actually like a Postgres development platform where you can actually go ahead to create APIs and integrate it with your projects. You don't need to start doing setup of Django and all of that. You just need to connect your API key, install the library, and you are good to go. We also have Firebase, right? We have Firebase, which is like a backend platform with authentication, Firestore, storage, and functions. And this is actually built by Google. And it's also very common right now, right? If you want to use Prisma, Prisma is also a very good database, especially if you are working with like a next generation ORM, right? For like TypeScript and Node.js, trust me, Prisma is always good to go, right? We also have Neon. NeonDB is also a very great one. And we also have Clerk for actually authentication, right? And trust me, these tools are actually very easy to use. Now, there's something that's called MCP, which I'm literally going to talk to you guys about, right? If you want to also check out um, Clerk, you can just go ahead to Clerk. This is the not Clerk billing, but let's go ahead to look at the overview first. Very good. So this Clerk is just, back then before, if you want to integrate Google login and all of things of that nature, you have to start going ahead to go and get your OAuth from Google using passports. By the way, if you are following me, kindly give a thumbs up in the chat so I can know you guys are with me. Very good. Thank you for that confirmation. Very okay. I can see we are all active. Sweet. So Clerk is also like a very good one, especially if you want to um building your authentication services like Google login, Apple login is very, very simple and straightforward. Most of the companies right now use Clerk to just build their projects like rapidly, and we're also going to do some examples together. So make sure to also take note of Clerk, right? Now, basically, what would be our normal data flow? Our data flow is actually going to be like user is going to interact with the UI. Basically, that's what they are going to see. Then after they interact with the UI, they go ahead to make like API requests to backend. And then after they do that, they are now going to do where it's going to connect our backend as a service. Then we store data or we retrieve data if they're trying to log in back. Then we give the response to the user. And those are actually the flow of web development itself. Almost all websites follow this flow, right? Go to a UI, you make API requests, either you want to log in or you want to create an account, then they send it to the backend using any of these backend services or backend framework or tools itself. Then the backend now checks, okay, do we have this in our database? If not, do you want to register or do you want to try an error? Whatever we want to do, we now give response to the user, and that's where the user is now able to go ahead to basically interact with our website. Like I talked about rapid prototyping. For non-developers, I would say for those of you that want to like quickly build quality AI project, like aside from using Claude itself right now, there are other AI platforms or AI tools that you can use for rapid prototyping. For example, we have ChatGPT. ChatGPT 5.5 just came out also. If you have not actually checked that out, I think let me just share the link with you guys so you guys can go ahead to check out the detailed write-up about ChatGPT 5.5. By the way, they actually did a great work. Let me just paste it for you guys in the chat, right? Um, okay, you know what? Let me just open this right here for you guys so you guys can also see that link. And I'm going to give you guys the link. Sorry, bringing it back here. By the way, since we are done with all of this, we can now go ahead to close the tab. Close this tab. Right, very good. So sun should load now. Very good. So that opening it right now. Let me see again. Yes, ChatGPT 5.5. By the way, if you have not checked it out, go ahead to check it out. I'm going to drop the link right there in the group for you guys so you guys can see it. So it's on the WhatsApp group already. And basically let's try to see if we can watch this video together. To be honest, I'm going to learn something pretty much amazing.
My first impression of GPT 5.5 is that it is different in the sense that it actually understands what I'm trying to tell it to do. I see previously.
Can you guys hear the audio just to confirm? Can you guys hear the audio? If you can hear the audio, oh no. Okay, let me see if I can present again. Just give me a few seconds. I want to make sure you guys can also hear the audio, right? All right, so you guys should be able to hear the audio right now.
A lot of my prompts have to be very detailed or very
the audio now, just to confirm.
Production-y kind of, where I'm trying to tell it like, hey, look in this part of the code base, do this. Whereas with GPT 5.5, sometimes.
Ouch, that's it. No. Okay, but you guys can just like go ahead to watch the video. Just click
Sometimes
the
I
link, right? It's going to actually tell you guys about more what ChatGPT is about, right? You can also listen to the article if you don't want to read all of this. Trust me, I took just like 5 minutes just to understand what's going on right here, because trust me, there are like many AI tools out there, and you need to also know the new ones that are coming out. Do you want to change? Why should you change? And then Mrs. What is trying to join. Yeah, why should you change? What are the cool features that just got released? And you can see they compared about the GPT 5.5, 5.4, 5.5 Pro, 5.4 Pro, Claude Opus 4.7, and Gemini 3.1 Pro. These are the two big guys right there that they are like ChatGPT major competitors, right? And you can see also the model capability when it comes to the artificial analysis. By the way, if you guys don't know about this website, artificial analysis, let me see if I still have that in my artificial analysis. Let me go ahead to click this exactly. So this is where the big guys compare different AI models. Those models they are seeing that they are using to generate. I'm going to drop that again for you guys in the chat. So those models that are saying is on the group WhatsApp group. They are seeing that okay, today Claude is trending, Opus is trending. This is where these big guys are being compared right here, right? So you can see right here when it comes to intelligence, the top trending one right now is Gemini 5.5. When it comes to speed, we have GPT. You can see Opus is following Gemini GPT 5.5. Also, when it comes to the pricing, right? GPT 5 is very, very high on the pricing side, followed by 4.7 Opus Max. So you can just come here and see how the compare models are being they are being compared side by side compared to index, agent index, and artificial intelligence index. You would also see um there's something that is called the user comparison also. Okay, yeah, text to image. Those of you guys that use Flux, that use ChatGPT, GPT image generation, Seed Dream, Flux. This is where you're going to see and compare, especially if you want to know the tools to make use of the most. Exactly. This is what I was looking for, the intelligent evaluation, right? So you see, um, we have like humanity last exam, right? The winner right here is Gemini 3.1 Pro. Let me just zoom this in for you guys so you can see, right? So you can also always try to just come here and check, especially if you want to work on a project that you don't know the AI tool to use, you're going to be able to see the ones that are trending accordingly right here. All right. Um, so yeah, for prototyping, you also have GitHub Copilot, we have Cursor IDE. We're going to be using GitHub Copilot and also Cloud Code. All right. So we have continue.dev, we have Replace plus Ghostwriter. Trust me, there are a lot. We have Lovable. We have Augment Code, we have Locify.ai, we have Builder.io, we have Cloud Code, Base 44. Right. For quick prototyping, I'm going to tell you about Lovable. And I'm also going to show you a project I did about Lovable also. But let me just go ahead to open Lovable up. So just go to let me see if I can log into my previous accounts quickly, so that I can show you guys. Okay, I don't think I have that login here, but yep, let me just go back. So if you want to actually use Lovable, you can just go to, no, let me just log in with my normal account to just see if I can show you guys some of the projects I've worked on before. Just give me a minute. I'm going to drop the screen right now. Okay, not this account. I want to make sure I'm showing you guys something that is quality. I can't find that account anymore, unfortunately. But okay, let me just show you guys a quick example, right? I think it's on my other laptop. All right, so quick one. If you go to lovable.dev, Has anyone here used Lovable before? If you have, I think it's very popular right now. Just give me a thumbs up. If not, just give a thumbs down. Have you guys used Lovable before? Nobody. Blessing said no. Mary said yes. Favor said yes. Very good. It's very simple and fast actually. So you would see that all you need to do is um, right here you can prompt it to build a website for you. You can change it from plan to build. But mostly, if you want to start, you make sure you want to dive into planning first. I'm just going to show you guys some of the projects I've done with Lovable before, right? Um, for clients, right? I think I did this with Lovable also, but there was one I did on my GitHub, which is still very much better. Just gonna show you guys. I'm gonna go to my repository and make sure I filter by public. Can I filter by public? Yes, very good. All right, so um, yeah, I have this right here. This one particularly, this one, list your body, Doku charts, very good, very good. So these are some of the projects I've done with. You can see this one was built with Lovable, right? If you want to access it, let me show you right here. So you can see mostly Lovable commented and all of that. This was one of the one that Lovable also did. You can use this to create quality website. You can see how nice this UI is, right? You can, I'm not sure the login is going to be working because it has been long I actually worked on this project, but this is to tell you how you can actually use Lovable for like good things, right? Let me show you some other ones, which is DocuChat. DocuChat actually had 3 stars, which I didn't even expect. Um, so you can also go ahead to start this one. This one is actually going to be useful for you guys, right? You can go ahead to, you can follow me on GitHub also and just start the repository. So this one is just like a document chat where you can chat with AI documents. And trust me, most of these things was actually prototyped with AI. And I'm also going to show you guys how to do all of this in our next lecture. But let me just quickly show you some examples of what you can use this to build. So for example, if I go to the link, right, DocuChat, you see how this UI is nicely designed. And basically what happened right here is this API key, I'm not sure I have money in this key again, but let's see. So what happens right here is you can actually go ahead to upload documents and chat with the documents, right? You can delete, you can send a message like um so let's just see if this message is gonna send. I'm not sure we still have quota. Okay, very good connection error. That would be because of the API key. But basically, how it works is you can just you can search up for documents. You can upload documents if you want to upload documents. You can drag and drop files. And let's just see. Let's just upload this. And once you upload this, you have this right here. You can now see dev track with Dixint, which is basically the API, um the the steps that we're going to be doing for this Dixint Academy. So if I say I, for example, the API key might not really go through. So it's having connection error. I'm pretty much sure it's because of my quota. But yeah, these are some of the things that you can actually use Lovable to actually build, right? One more example that I'm going to show you is going to be this one, which is Kochet Tech It Online. And this one was actually a very simple one that was also scaffolding, I think, some few months ago. And basically, what you can do right here is you can sign in as a user, right? Once you sign in, I think this one should actually still go. Very good. So once you sign in as a user, just imagine this as like a restaurant menu, where you can go ahead to just like add, for example, you want to buy pizza and plantain, add fried rice. You can see your checkout and go ahead to place order. And once you place order, you will see that you now have pending, right? So what we can do now is we can now go ahead to just see this is actually pending right now. So let's go ahead to log in as another user, right? I'm going to go ahead to click on this. I'm going to log out. I'm going to sign in as an admin right now. I'm going to sign as an admin. As an admin, you'll be able to see your orders. Um, Go to our dashboard, pending order. You can see one pending order we just did right now, which it has you can see it has one piece and plantain and this which we just order right now. we'll click on start preparing. You can see preparing, we now see we have one. All right, now let's go ahead to just log out again because this is a staff account. Let's sign in back to our normal user accounts and sign in back. You will see now that your orders, the orders have now moved from order received to preparing, right? Let's log out back again to the admin accounts. So I'm just trying to show you guys the power of how you can use Lovable to prototype websites, right? Let's go to preparing and let's say the food is ready, mark it as ready, and then it's ready for pickup. Then we click on complete, right? Then now once we log out back and we log in back to the user account, let's see user account, sign in, and we click on my others, you will see now that we now have this as what as completed, right? So these are like some of the websites that you can build with Lovable, especially if you know how to prompt Lovable very well, right? And that's what we're going to do in our next lecture. We'll try to look at how we can prompt Lovable to build websites for us. A very simple landing page, not that complex, just to know how some of these AI tools for rapid prototyping works. Then we'll go back into looking at maybe we'll look at base 44 also, look at some other platforms, right? Then we're not going to dive deeper into Cloud Code, right? We'll look at GitHub Copilot and also talk about Git and GitHub for um, collaboration workflow. All right. So I hope you guys understood what we did today. Basically just talking about the basics of websites. And I think the next thing that we'll be talking about in our next class is now using some of these AI tools, some of these examples that I showed you guys, using Lovable. Then we'll build some rapid prototyping websites. Then after that, we're now going to look more into Git and GitHub workflows, right? Now, once we understand those basics, we're not going to dive into building real UIs from prompting, like working with code base itself, not with any AI prototyping tools anymore. All right. So I hope you guys understood what we did today. If you understood, kindly drop a yes in the chat so I can know you guys are following. All right. Very good. Very good. So, all right. Do we have any questions from anyone? Okay, blessing. Thank you for confirming that. By the way, for those of you guys that have not yet checked the last video I've uploaded, please make sure to check it out. Some of you guys just dropped a comment on the WhatsApp group. You can go ahead to just copy that comment and paste it on the video link. Just paste it on the so that I can know you guys were present in the class. All right. So same thing happens today again. We are going to upload the video for you guys so that you guys can go ahead to rewatch it if you want to rewatch it. And in case if you missed anything, you can just go ahead to always go back and rewind. All right. With that being said, I think it's right about time we are done with today's class. And does anyone have any question? Any question from anyone? So yeah, again, question one for my end would be, can you mention 3 tools that we use currently for rapid prototyping? Anyone in the comment in the chat should just like let me know 3 tools that we can use for rapid prototyping, like I mentioned earlier on. Anyone want to try? Okay, we have from Great Lazarus. Great Lazarus, can you just go ahead to talk, please?
Okay, we use ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot. We also looked at the last one, Lovable.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. From the chat, we also have some comments. We have from Favor, she said Cloud Code, Copilot, and Lovable. Very correct. We have from Blessing, Lovable, Cloud Code, Copilot. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Mary also is saying Lovable, Copilot, and ChatGPT. That's very awesome. All right. So my other question for you guys would be, can you mention so let me just go ahead to make sure I'm giving you guys questions from the slide. So yeah, can you mention the different backend services that was listed today in class? What are the different backend services that you can use for rapid prototyping when it comes to web development ecosystem, especially modern ones? Okay, we have Blessing. Blessing, please unmute your mic and go ahead.
Okay, we have Firebase, we have Superbase, we have Neon, we have
Very good.
them.
Prisma.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
That's the four I can remember.
That's very correct. All right. Remember I mentioned we have Superbase, Firebase, Prisma, Neon, and we also have Collect. There are a lot. There are a lot more, right? But these tools are the tools that we're going to be using when it comes to our AI for rapid prototyping, right? We won't want to start building a API from scratch using. Trust me, you can do this, but because of the limited time that we have, we're going to visually focus on those backend services tools. All right. So with that being said, I hope you guys understood what we did in today's class. Again, once the recording is live, please do make sure to go ahead and just drop a comment about what you learned, or if you have any question right there, I'll be right there to actually follow up. All right. So with that being said, I don't know if Ayomide or Esther has anything for you guys. Ayomide, Esther, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here. Okay, Ayomide can go first. Leila.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And I'm sure everyone learned one or two in this class, and it was very insightful, right? Okay, so I just want to mention to you guys that you should try as much as possible to appreciate your tutor, at the classes. Try and appreciate your tutor, follow your tutor on the social media account. I don't know if you dropped it, but I think Mr. dropped it in the group, follow him, and that way you can connect better and learn more. And if you have any question, if anything is not clear to you, you can reach out to any of the um facilitators on the group. You will see the admins on the group. You can just reach out to any one of them. It's I think that's all I have to say right now. Is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, it's more like them talking about whatever they are learning on social media and also tagging the accounts so that we can engage with them too.
Okay, yeah, true. So if you're not following these things yet, I think the link was also dropped on the group. So try and follow these things across our social media platforms so you can be carried along whatsoever it is we're doing. If you've gone through any of our pages, you would have seen that we host like different events. We host um, empowerment programs. We also host really good paid events too. So one's coming up, that's like a really good way for you to grow in your career journey, and also connect with um, senior colleagues and like-minders. Right? Just try and follow up and um, be involved in whatsoever we're doing. Right. Yeah, again, thank you very much, David. Thank you for the class. So yeah, Dave, that's all I have to say. You
Oh,
can just wrap up.
all right, very good, guys. So as they all said, please make sure to follow along. Also be active. Ifeanyi, I didn't hear your voice today. Are you there? Ifeanyi, are you there? All right. It seems you're in a noisy place. So you can't talk right now. But yeah. Again, guys, please make sure to always join class early and try to also revise on what we have done in our last class. As from next week, we are going to start building with those tools that were mentioned. We're going to dive into Git and collaboration workflow, and also talk about, if time permits us, we'll also talk about the UIs I told you guys about, how you can use this to build nice and reusable components. But with that being said, I think that will be the end of today's section. Again, once the video is dropped, please do well to go ahead to like and comment on what you learned in today's class. With that being said, that will be the end of today's session, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.